Cold Brew Jam track details. Drop D track, tempo is 100, 2 sections, A section and a B section. A section is 8 bars of D minor and B section is 16 bars of G minor. The track transitions in bar 7 and 8 of the A section from D minor to G minor. Details. Starts out with a power chord on the 5th fret on the A string, D5, going to the drop D, open and a couple muted, so you have then a couple 16 notes to an 8 note, that's a hammer on, 3 to 5, to the C on the 3rd fret on the A string. Now you have drop D and a double stop on the 5th fret on the A string. We're going to do that 3 times, where the last one's a little bit more emphasized. And then that double stop on the 3rd fret on the A and the D string with the vibrato. That's the first 2 bars of the A section. You have and then it comes again. This time, after that hammer on, instead of going to the C on the 3rd fret, I'm going. So that's bar 3 and 4. And then, you know, Man in the Box, Alice in Chains. That's the same thing. So you go. So this here, I'm barring it. I'm not using index ring. I'm barring it, and then hold that. Open D, open G, and close it out with a drop muted D string. So that's the first 4 bars of the A section. So you have. Bar 5 and 6 is the same as 1 and 2. And then there's a transition to G now in bar 7 and 8 of the A section. I'm going, that's a G. Right? So open D, G, the G in the bass on the 5th fret on the D string, because, you know, this is now a G, not an A, because we got D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, and G. And drop D tuning, right? So you go open D, open G, 5th fret, couple muted, hammer on, bar that again, a double stop on the D and the G, and then use probably your middle, and then again that hammer on, open, and now 16 note on the dotted 8, scratch, downstroke, and F5 power chord on the 3rd fret on the drop D string is that upstroke in the track. That's the only upstroke in that track, right? So, and that would be in bar 8 of the A section. That's right here. Down, up, down, right? Right here, scratch, and that F5 power chord. So you have this, which is pretty cool. You can use that all over the place. It's a scratch, and then you can also mute that. It's just that ta-ta. Anyway, so that is the A section. A section with the track. B section. B section is 16 bars. We're now in G minor, and it's basically 4 times this. That's how every line starts out. That will hopefully help you remember how that thing works. So the first one That's the first couple bars basically. On the 4 of the first bar, I'm hitting that scratch, which I'm already placing my middle end ring on the 3rd fret on the D and G, because on the 4 and I'm hitting that double stop, so it's on the 4 of the second bar you have 3 5 3 0, so it's then the second part of that first line, the bar 3, is a couple double stops on the 5th fret, and then again on the 4 of that 3rd bar, the scratch, and on the 4 and. So that's basically that first line. So we have and the 4 of the 4th bar, there's a pickup, these two, and then we're in the second line, so that's bar 5. That comes again. It's basically, it's exactly the same thing. So bar 1 and 2 are bar 5 and 6. This is the same too as in the first one, but now we don't go. Now we go. So that's the first 2 lines. In the 3rd line, we have that again. And now, this is bar 9, 10, 11. We have this. You can see I'm using my thumb for that G on the low D string on the 5th fret. This is bar 11. And then in bar 12 on the 4, again that pickup. And now we're on the last line, bars 12 through 16, 13 through 16, and this is a little variation with some muted things. The legato thing again. And now we hit bar 15 and 16. So kind of this thing again. Slide from 5 to 3. Double stops with index and ring, and then 7. Slide. Scratch. And then slide 8, 10. And that's the B section. So now that we got that out of the way, here's A and B, the whole track, to the track. Cold Brew Jam Tabletop Talk. We are talking improvising over this thing. Got ourselves a couple options here, the way I see it. Pentatonic based. I'm not going to get into scales on this one. First option, the no-brainer solution, would be to play D minor pentatonic over the entire track, the A section and the B section. If you don't know your D minor pentatonic patterns, this would be a good motivation for you maybe to learn how to transpose from whatever key you know them in to D minor. So, Anything beyond that point is going to blow your mind if you don't have any theory background, so don't even try. It's just going to be alien talk to you. If you know some theory, then this will help you sound better, and maybe you know all these things, so good for you. D minor pentatonic, as you know, is your 1, your flat 3, your 4, your 5, and your flat 7, right? So we got that. Then, to spice that up a little bit over the whole track, you can play the Blues Pentatonic. This will add one note, the blue note, which is the flat 5. So you have D, F, G, A flat, which is a flat 5, the A and the C. 1, flat 3, 4, pressing too hard, flat 5, blue note 5, and the flat 7. So you get this extra note here. This will work fine. Anything basically over a minor, or major try too, but a minor in this case will give you a bluesy sound. So this will work over the entire track. Now if you played an A flat over the G minor, there's a little caveat here. That's a flat 2 because the A flat is a flat 2 in G, which would naturally give you somewhat of a Phrygian sound, because Phrygian, if you know your modes, is like the flat 2. Here, that does not work. You can try it, you'll see it sounds weird. So if you played a D blues pentatonic and you play this note under the B section, it's kind of weird. So that's your first option. I have a few licks that I'm going to get into when I'm going to play over this thing. Actually, I'm going to try and do all these things. So, and I'm going to yell over the track so you can follow. Option 2. We're going to see this thing in 2 keys. 1 key for A, 1 key for the B section. D minor in the A section, G minor in the B section. Pentatonic bass for now. So, not going to get into scales on this one. If you compare these two, you will notice that they are strikingly similar for the most part. This one, however, is a contrast that you don't have here. So if you play G minor and you play the G minor patterns, you will already sound different on the B section. And if you play that B flat, which you don't play here, it's going to add some contrast, which is nice. And if you follow that smooth transition in bar 7 and 8 from in the A section from D minor to G, it's going to sound better too. Another thing that's very cool is, that I didn't mention before, if you emphasize these two guys in the B section, because over G minor, the A is the 2 interval and the C is the 4. This will give you a minor add 2 sound, and this will give you a minor add 4 sound, both pretty and minor. So if you emphasize these two guys in the B section, it's going to add some color. Color is good. When I'm going to improvise over this track, I'm actually going to try and do all these things, and I'm going to yell over the track, so you can follow that if you want. Maybe you know these things already, so maybe there's a nugget you didn't think about before. But students always ask me, why do I have to know flats and sharps? Do I have to know theory? No, you don't. We don't have to do anything. But are you really that talented? Are you really that gifted to hear all this stuff? And it pays off to think about it, because it's gonna sound better. So there's only so much theory you should focus on when you actually play, but never forget that knowing stuff will boost your ears and boost your talent, because you're thinking about this stuff in an analytic way, admittedly so, but once you figure that out and you play and you incorporate all these things, your ears are going to get used to it, and you're going to do them subconsciously, unintentionally, and spontaneously, so you will sound better than you sounded before. Some of these things you may be doing already, but if you do them consciously for a while, then your playing is going to get to a new level. So hopefully that will help you sound better when you improvise over Cold Brew Jam, which is what it's made for, to something to practice with a cool track and drop D and a few different options to play over. So following will be me attempting to improvise over that track, and hopefully you'll like it, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. I have a few licks that I'm going to get into: D minor and drop D and G minor and drop D, which I mentioned before that the patterns are kind of quote-unquote ruined, because once you hit the low string, they're not the same. But you'll see that in a second. And then you can spice it up by playing the D Blues Pentatonic over the whole track. Like so. Now if you do that over the B section, works, right? If you just do this, it sounds weird, right? So there's no... kind of Phrygian doesn't work, but if you just play over it, that works. Some Blues Pentatonic. B section. Now in option 1, what you can also do is emphasize this one, the A, which is a minor at 2 sound. Kind of that thing over the B section. Or the 4. D minor A section, G minor B section. tried to keep it simple, not too many notes, and pretty much the basic pentatonic shapes and the octave of it with some connecting notes. Not to be too complicated, but it gives you an idea of what it sounds like. So according to your ability, wherever you are at, try and switch from D to G and it'll sound better. But like I said, you know, D minor pentatonic will probably get you through the entire track. You can also play a scale or whatever, but I like to keep it pentatonic based because it's a pentatonic based rock track. It's just like you don't play a scale, full-blown scale over blues unless you're one of those fusion guys. It's not authentic. Here it just sounds better. Keep it pentatonic based if you dig that. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you're interested in any of the theoretical basis knowledge details, hit me up, sixstringjoy@gmail.com, or hit me up in one of the comments and I'll try and answer your question. That's it for now. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening.